The ability to track clicks is one of the most essential and fundamental possibilities that you can do in Google Tag Manager. And in this video, we will learn how to track clicks with Google Analytics 4 and GTM. Hey, my name is Julius and welcome to Analytics Mania YouTube channel, where you can learn Google Tag Manager and Google Analytics. And if you want to stay up to date with Google Analytics 4, consider subscribing to this channel. Google Analytics 4 offers built-in automatic event tracking capabilities called Enhanced Measurement. It is capable of tracking things like document clicks and outbound link clicks. But what if you want to track clicks on other elements of your website that are more custom? In this video, we'll take a look at that as well. So let's dive in. Let's start with Enhanced Measurement and the click tracking that is offered by this functionality. But before we do that, here is the very basic setup that you should already have in your container. So you should go to Google Analytics Admin, then Data Streams, select Data Stream that you already have, and copy the measurement ID. Then go to Google Tag Manager, Tags, click New, Tag Configuration, and select the GA4 configuration tag. Now, if you already have this part, you don't have to follow me, and fire this tag on all pages. And then let's name the tag. Save it. Also, make sure that in Google Analytics, you have enabled Enhanced Measurement. And then click this gear icon and make sure that file downloads and outbound link clicks are enabled right here. Now let's check whether our configuration tag is firing on a website, because when this happens, then Enhanced Measurement will be also launched on a page and it will be looking for document link clicks and outbound link clicks. So let's go to Google Tag Manager, enable the preview mode by clicking the preview button. Then you will be asked to enter the URL of your website. And when you land here, you should see that your preview and debug mode is connected. If on the other hand, your preview mode is not working and it is not connected properly, then take a look at the description of this video where I will post another link to my blog where you will find tips on how to troubleshoot the preview and debug mode. So when we have enabled the preview mode, our website is loaded, then you will see that on container loaded event, your configuration tag has fired. Then let's go to Google Analytics and go to debug view. And then eventually you should start seeing some data coming in. First of all, that should be page view, maybe user engagement or session start event. Also, since we have enabled the Enhanced Measurement, we should see some additional events. For example, I can scroll down and then eventually I should start seeing a scroll event in the debug view. That scroll event in the debug view should look like this. You can click it and you can see some additional information about that event. Then let's take a look at link clicks. So at the bottom of my page, I have a link that redirects to Shopify. So this is an external domain. If I click it, then I also have two links. One will open and download the PDF file. The other one will download the docx, which is Word file. And as you can see, I have downloaded them right here. Then if you want to see how those events were sent, you can go to the preview mode of Google Tag Manager, switch to the GA4 property right here. So this is the ID of the data stream. You will see a bunch of events sent. If you want, you can click on one of them and see what kind of data was sent. And then eventually you should start seeing those events in the debug view of Google Analytics 4. Now, what I've noticed is that there is some sort of delay, and sometimes that delay is very weird. For example, while I was recording this video, what I've noticed is that I was waiting for the events to appear right here. But what happened in reality is that at some point, those events appear in the stream of the debug view, but they appeared 10 minutes ago, somewhere right here. It looks like they were just pushed to the past of this event stream. Now, I'm not sure if this is how it is expected to work. Most likely not, but just keep in mind that this is possible. So eventually what I would recommend is that you should keep an eye on these event counts right here. And if you see that these have increased, then you can scroll down and try to find that event. This is not very convenient. Hopefully this will be fixed in the future, but right now we just have to work with what we have. Anyway, so let's focus on the first click. This event happened when I clicked the Shopify link at the bottom of the screen of the website. So this is the outbound link. Now, if I click on this, you will see that this event has a parameter outbound, of which value is true. So this means that this link is outbound. Then we have link URL. So this is the full URL that was clicked. Then this is the link domain. And if that link also had things like ID, that parameter would also be tracked right here. And here I have the first event, actually 2 events for 1 file download. This is happening because, first of all, when I clicked the link, it was treated as file download because that link contains a .pdf in the link, but also this was treated as an outbound link click. You can see that the outbound parameter is true. This has happened because that file link is hosted on a third-party domain. That is why I got 2 events for the same interaction. The first one is for this click, which is outbound, and also that the same file is related to a file download. That's why the event name is file download. So what we have seen so far is that the enhanced measurement in Google Analytics 4 is capable of tracking outbound link clicks and file downloads. But now let's take a look at another example where we need to track some custom element, which is neither file link nor outbound link click. Here I have another website where on the homepage we have a big call to action button. So let's say that I want to track every time a visitor clicks this call to action button. So what we are going to do is that we will need to create an event tag in Google Tag Manager, and that tag will send the event to Google Analytics 4. But before we do that, first we have to configure a trigger that will be looking only for those clicks that happen on this big call to action button. So let's start by clicking this button and then see what do we have in the preview and debug mode of Google Tag Manager. And we see a link click. Now there might be several reasons why we see the link click. The first one is that you have enabled the link click tracking in enhanced measurement. So if we go to admin of Google Analytics, then data streams, then select the data stream, and then if we have either outbound clicks or file downloads enabled right here, so this means that link click tracking is enabled on a website and Google Tag Manager is capable of tracking that link click. Now, if for some reason you have decided to disable these 2 features or disable the enhanced measurement entirely, then you should go to Google Tag Manager, triggers, and then have at least 1 link click trigger enabled on a page. So let's go to new, then trigger configuration, just links, and then keep this trigger as it is, let it fire on all link clicks, and then enter the name. So in this case, you must have either this link click trigger enabled on a page or have enabled the enhanced measurement in your Google Analytics 4 property. If you have done any of those, then you will see the link click in the preview mode right here. But if we click on link click in the preview mode and then click on variables, you will see that we don't have any variables related to click. Now, why do we need variables? Because first of all, we need them in our trigger because we need to make our click trigger more precise. And also we will be passing some click information to Google Analytics 4. That is why we need to go to Google Tag Manager, variables, and enable all click related variables. So go to configure in the built-in variables section, and then scroll down and keep looking for clicks and enable all the click variables right here. When this loading saving disappears, click the preview button once again in order to refresh the preview mode. And here the preview mode has refreshed. I'm now on a website, and if I, let's say, click on this homepage call to action button once again, then let's go to the preview mode and click on the link click event once again. Now go to variables and see what kind of click information do we have. And we have click classes, click element, click ID has nothing, click target has nothing, but we have click text, we have click URL. And this is useful because we will be able to use some of this information in our triggers and in our Google Analytics 4 event tag. So first of all, let's create a trigger. Now let's go to Google Tag Manager, triggers. And if you already have a trigger for all link clicks, you can click it and then you can edit it. Now, if you don't have one, then you can click on new and create a new trigger that is just links. But since I already have the trigger, I can click it and then I can update it. So I will click it, then click some link clicks, and now I have to enter a condition that will instruct Google Tag Manager that I am interested not in all link clicks, but only in those link clicks that are related to that big call to action button. So if we take a look at various click variables, we need to look at the variables and we need to find one that will tell us that this is not just some random click on a website, but the click of that big call to action button. Even though this text says big homepage call to action, I would not recommend using click text in your triggers because, well, this is very fragile. And if someone changes the text, or if someone, let's say, uses browser's translate feature, your trigger will break. That is why other option might be click element, but this one is too advanced for this lesson. Click ID could be a good option, but in our case, we don't have any ID, so this means that the button doesn't have any ID. That is why we could try to use click classes. So in this case, we see that this button contains a class that is called hero __ and then btn, which is button, so hero button. So since I have been working with this website for quite some time, I know that this class indeed represents that big call to action button right here. So I can use this in my triggering condition. So I copy this class, go to Google Tag Manager and enter the following condition. Click classes contains this value. And then let's rename the trigger. Save the trigger. And then let's create a tag. So this tag will send an event about that link click to Google Analytics 4. So go to tags, new, tag configuration, and choose GA4 event. In this tag, you should either select manually set the ID. So this is the ID of your data stream. But since we are sending data to our usual Google Analytics 4 property, we can just select the existing Google Analytics 4 configuration tag. So what does it mean? That this event tag will reuse all the settings, including the measurement ID of that configuration tag that I previously created in this video. Then let's name the event. Now, in this case, you could name it click as it was used right here. Let me just quickly switch to that debug view. Do something like that, click. It can be fine. Also, if you want, you can add some custom event name. You can use something like that, call to action. That might also work just fine. And you know what? This is exactly what I'm going to do. I will use this custom name. Now, event parameters. Just sending call to action is not enough. Well, of course, if you have only one call to action on your entire website, then that is fine. But what if you have multiple call to actions? What if you want to track some additional information, like what was the URL of that particular button? What was the text of that button, or something else? That's why we can pass some additional parameters together with that event. Once again, you can come up with some custom parameter names and that will work just fine, or you can try to follow the existing naming convention that is already present in Google Analytics 4. Below this video, I will post a link to a page of the official Google Analytics 4 documentation, and that page is about enhanced measurement. Now, here you will find a table of automatically tracked events and some of the parameters that are also automatically tracked. So if we, for example, take a look at outbound clicks, we see that the event name is click. So in this case, we just chose a different event name, but we also see that there are some additional parameters that are captured automatically by enhanced measurement. So what we could do is that we could actually reuse these parameters, the names of these parameters, and then send some additional data about our call to action button by using these parameters. So we see link classes, link domain, link ID, link URL. We could actually send them with our call to action event. So let's do that. First, let's copy link classes and then add it right here. Then add another row, then link domain, add it right here. Or you know what? Maybe we should remove this link domain because in our case, all call to actions on our website belong to our own domain. So there is no need to track link domain as a separate parameter. So let's use link classes, then link ID, then link URL. And I'm not sure if they have link text. Link text, yes. We have a parameter link text for the file download event. So we can use this right here. Looks like that is all. And now we can insert some values. Well, we actually need to do that. So first of all, we are lucky in this case because Google Tag Manager has a bunch of built-in variables related to clicks that will return the needed values. So in this field, which is the value of link classes, we can insert a variable which is called click classes in Google Tag Manager. Click the button right here and then choose click classes. Now link ID, choose click ID. Link URL, choose click URL. And link text, choose click text. Now if some variable, for example, click ID in our case is empty, then this parameter will not be sent, and that is all. Now scroll down and in the triggering section, click anywhere and then choose our previously created link like trigger. Finally, let's name the event and then click save. And now let's test the entire implementation. So first of all, let's refresh the preview mode, and we can do that by clicking the preview button right here. We see that the page has refreshed, and then let's click that big home page call to action button. When I click it, I go to the preview mode and I see the link click event right here. I click it and I see that my tag has fired. So this is a good news. Then if I click it, I will see what kind of parameters were sent, what was the event name. So this is call to action. Then if you want to see what kind of values were sent with these parameters, you should switch to values right here. And we see the actual values that were sent. So that's a good start. Then you can click on your GA4 data stream ID, and then you will see that the call to action event was also sent. So this is another good news. Then let's go to analytics, and in the debug view, let's wait for our call to action event appear. And here I see my call to action event appear in the debug view right here. Now I have to be honest with you, I actually had to pause this video for about 5 minutes because that was the time difference between the actual click on the button and the moment when this event appeared in the debug view right here. So now I'm not sure why this is happening, but sometimes it just does. And this is a bit annoying, but I mean, we just probably have to get used to that, or maybe in the future this will be fixed. For now, I haven't found any solutions for how to make sure that the data that comes to the debug view appears nearly in real time. Anyway, let's click that event and see what kind of data was sent to Google Analytics 4. So we see link classes, which is the value that we sent with Google Tag Manager with a click classes variable. Then here is link text, and here is link URL. Now, since that click did not have any link ID, because the click ID was actually empty, let me just quickly switch and show you. So if we switch to values, you will see that the link ID value is empty. So since our link didn't have any ID, that parameter was not sent to Google Analytics 4 as well. And when you make sure that your click tracking in Google Analytics 4 is working properly, don't forget to publish your changes. So click submit, and then you will create a new version, and all of these changes will go live to your website visitors. Oh, and one more thing. Let's quickly talk about where will you see this click data in your reports. So within 24 hours or a bit earlier, you will see your event data appear in all events section. So you will see a list of all events. Now, right now I'm having some gibberish random event names that I created for testing purposes, but eventually you will start seeing your events right here. That includes file download and click and call to action and whatever else you're sending. Then you will also see that event data in engagement and events reports. So for example, right here, I have another event, which is menu click, that is fired every time a visitor clicks on a menu item. So if you want to see additional parameters that you send together with your event, you will need to register those parameters as custom definitions in your Google Analytics 4 reports. For example, in case of the menu click event, I was sending 2 additional parameters. One was menu item URL, and the other one was menu item name. Now, if I just send this data and do not configure anything additionally in the GA4 interface, these widgets will not appear in your reports. But if you want to start using these parameters in your reports as well, so I'm talking about this widget, or maybe you want to use that data in analysis section, then you should go to all events, then click manage custom definitions, and then click create new custom dimension. And then here you should enter all the parameter names that you want to use in your reports. So in our case, that will be link ID, then you create one, then you create link text, and do the same thing for all the parameters that you sent together with that event. If you want to see more examples, where can you find your event data in Google Analytics 4 reports, I will post a link to a guide about how to track events with Google Analytics 4 and Google Tag Manager. So at the end of that blog post, you will find more examples. And that is how you track clicks with Google Analytics 4 and Google Tag Manager. If your needs are quite basic, enhanced measurement might be enough. But if you want to track clicks on buttons, menu items, or something else, then you will need GTM for that. If you found this video useful, hit the thumbs up button below the video because it helps me continue working on this channel. Also, if you want to learn more about Google Tag Manager and Google Analytics 4, consider subscribing to this channel. My name is Julius, this is Analytics Mania, and I'll see you in the next video.